Shalini, you want to start from the...
Yes, sir, I will start. Chapter 10, right?
Yeah, chapter.
ॐ श्रीपरमात्मने नमः। अथ दशमोऽध्यायः। श्रीभगवानुवाच भूया एव बाहो शृणु मे परमं वचः यत्तोऽहं प्रीयमाणाय वक्ष्यामि हितकाम्यया न मे विदुः सुरगणाः प्रभवं न महर्षयः अहमादिर्हि देवानां महर्षीणां च सर्वशः यो माम् अजम् अनादिं च वेत्ति लोकमहेश्वरम् असम्मूढः समत्येषु सर्वपापैः प्रमुच्यते बुद्धिर्ज्ञानं सम्मोहः क्षमा सत्यं दमः शमः सुखं दुःखं भवो अभावो भयं चाभयमेव च अहिंसा समता तुष्टिः दानं यशो यशः भवन्ति भावा भूतानां मत्त एव पृथग्विधाः महर्षयः सप्त पूर्वे चत्वारो मनवस्तथा मद्भावा मानसा जाता येषां लोक इमा प्रजाः एतां विभूतिं योगं च मम यो वेति तत्त्वतः सोऽविकम्पेन योगेन युज्यते नात्र संशयः अहं सर्वस्य प्रभवो मत्तः सर्वं प्रवर्तते इति मत्वा भजन्ते मां बुधा भावसमन्विताः मच्चित्ता मद्गतप्राणा बोधयन्तः परस्परं कथयन्तश्च मां नित्यं तुष्यन्ति च रमन्ति च तेषां सततयुक्तानां भजतां प्रीतिपूर्वकं ददामि बुद्धियोगं तं येन मामुपयान्ति ते।
Continue till 15th. Continue till
Okay.
15th.
तेषामेवानुकम्पार्थम् अहमज्ञानजं तमः आत्मभावस्तु ज्ञानादीपेन भास्वता अर्जुन उवाच परं ब्रह्म परं धाम पवित्रं परमं भवान् पुरुषं शाश्वतं दिव्यम् आदिदेवमजं विभुम् त्वां ऋषयः सर्वे देवर्षिनारदस्तथा असितो देवलो व्यासः स्वयं चैव ब्रवीषि मे सर्वमेतत्कृतं मन्ये यन्मां वदसि केशव न हि ते भगवन् व्यक्तिं विदुर्देवानदानवाः स्वयमेवात्मनात्मानं वेत्ता त्वं पुरुषोत्तम भूतभावन भूतेश देवदेव जगत्पते.
Yes, Sudha, you want to continue from there?
Yes. वक्तुमर्हस्य शेषेण दिव्या ह्यात्मविभूतयः याभिर्विभूतिभिर्लोकान् इमांस्त्वं व्याप्य तिष्ठसि कथं विद्यामहं योगिं त्वां सदा परिचिन्तयन् केषु केषु च भावेषु चिन्तयोऽसि भगवन्मया विस्तरेणात्मनो योगं विभूतिं च जनार्दन भूयः कथय तृप्तिर्हि शृण्वतो नास्ति मे मृतम् श्रीभगवानुवाच हन्त ते कथयिष्यामि दिव्या ह्यात्मविभूतयः प्राधान्यतः कुरु श्रेष्ठ नास्त्यन्तो विस्तरस्य मे अहमात्मा गुडाकेश सर्वभूताशयस्थितः अहमादिश्च मध्यं च भूतानामन्त एव च आदित्यानमहं विष्णुः ज्योतिर्दिशां रविरंशुमान् मरीचिर्मरुतामस्मि नक्षत्राणामहं शशी वेदानां सामवेदोऽस्मि देवानामस्मि वासवः इन्द्रियाणां मनश्चास्मि भूतानामस्मि चेतना रुद्राणां शङ्करश्चास्मि वित्तेषु यक्षरक्षमाम् वसूनां पावकश्चास्मि मेरुः शिखरिणामहम् पुरोधसां च मुख्यं मां विद्धि पार्थ बृहस्पतिं सेनानीनामहं स्कन्दः सरसामस्मि सागरः महर्षीणां भृगुरहं गिरामस्म्येकमक्षरम् यक्षाणां जपयज्ञोऽस्मि स्थावराणां हिमालयः अश्वत्थः सर्ववृक्षाणां देवर्षीणां च नारदः गन्धर्वाणां चित्ररथः सिद्धानां कपिलो मुनिः उच्चैश्रवसमश्वानां विद्धि माममृतोद्भवम् ऐरावतं गजेन्द्राणां नराणां च नराधिपम् आयुधानामहं वज्रं धेनूनामस्मि कामधुक् प्रजनश्चास्मि कन्दर्पः सर्पाणामस्मि वासुकिः अन्त अनन्तश्चास्मि नागानां वरुणो यादसामहं पितॄणामर्यमा चास्मि यमः संयमतामहम् प्रह्लादश्चास्मि दैत्यानां कालः कलयतामहम् मृगाणां च मृगेन्द्रोऽहं वैनतेयश्च पक्षिणाम्
Kumbeshwaran, you want to continue?
Yeah, sure. पवनः पवधामस्मि पवनः पवधामस्मि रामचन्द्रप्रधामहम् जक्षानामकरश्चास्मि श्रोडशामस्मि जाह्नवी सर्गानामादिरन्तश्च मध्यं चैवाहमर्जुन अध्यात्मविद्या विद्यानां वादप्रवदधामहम् अक्षराणामगारोऽस्मि द्वन्द्व सामसिगस्य च अकमेवाक्षय कालो धाताहं विश्वधोमुखः मृत्युसर्वहरश्चाहम् उद्भवश्च भविष्यताम् कीर्ति श्रीर्वाक्च नारीणां समृद्धिर्मेधा धृति क्षमा बृहतः सामददा साम्नां गायत्री छन्दसामहं मासानां मार्गशीर्षोऽहं ऋतूनां कुसुमाकरः द्यूहं चलयतामस्मि तेजस्तेजस्विनामहम् चयोस्मि व्यवसायोऽस्मि सत्त्वं सत्त्ववतामहम् वृक्षीणां वासुदेवोऽस्मि पाण्डवानां धनञ्जयः मुनीनामप्यहं व्यासः कवीनामुशना कविः खण्डोदमयधामस्मि नीतिरस्मि जिगीषतां मौनं चैवास्मि गुह्यानां ज्ञानं ज्ञानमवतामहम् यश्चापि सर्वभूतानां बीजं तदहमर्जुन न तस्ति विना यस्त्वा अन्मया भूतं सरासरम् नान्तोऽस्ति मवदिव्यानां विभूतीनां परन्तप येक्ष दुर्ते यथा दुर्देशथ प्रोक्तो विभूतेर्विस्तरो मया यत् विभूतिमत्सत्त्वं श्रीमदुर्जितमेव वा तत्तेवावगच्छ त्वं मम तेजों शसम्भवम् अथवा बहुनैतेन किं ज्ञातेन तवार्जुन विष्टप्याहमिदं कृत्सन् मोकांशेन सधिको जगत् सर
Yeah,
final
continue.
ओम तत्सत् ब्रह्म विद्येयो ओके सॉरी ओम तत्सति श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासु उपनिषत्सु ब्रह्म विद्यायां योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्णार्जुन संवादे विभूति योगो नाम दशमोऽध्यायः
Very nice. So, what I thought we could do, right? This is not like a structured one, this particular today's thing. But it is about just recapping many learnings that we have had, not just this chapter 10, but also the previous chapters, because they're all interlinked. So we should probably look at what is it that made this particular chapter happen, and there are some verses in the earlier chapters that take us in this direction. So I thought we start with that, and then maybe the way to do it is that put something forward. Okay, what does this mean? We can all share our perspectives. Then if you have some thoughts, some other questions, some other things, we can also add to that. But I had some sort of few points that I thought we could all walk through today, which actually give some references to chapter 10 and so forth. Okay, so if you go back and look at chapter 9, maybe let's understand that a few verses in chapter 9. In chapter 9, right, there are two verses there, 4th and 5th verse. First one says, Maya tatamidam sarvam jagadavyaktamurtina. Right? The entire one, everyone exists in me, is pervaded by me. Everybody exists in me, but I do not dwell in them. Okay. Everybody exists in me, he says in the 4th verse. And then in the 5th verse, he says, people do not actually exist in me. So I thought we should start with this. What is our understanding of these two verses? Why is he saying one first and then second he's somewhat contradicting the same thing that he said in the previous verse? Shalini, if you're there, I don't know if you can hear. Yeah? Who would like to touch upon that? It doesn't matter, it's not like we have to have a perfect answer. We just want to This is a manana. Remember, we just are just talking through whatever our understanding is of each of these verses. So you understand, right? Fourth verse talks about the whole world is pervaded by me. All beings exist in me, but I don't exist in them. That is the first, fourth verse. Fifth
So,
verse,
mm,
people do not exist in me. So he earlier said everybody exists in me. Now people don't exist in me. Why is he saying, what is the reference to these two verses? Yeah, Shalini, you want to say something?
yes, sir, I was thinking. So this is the unmanifested form, right? He's talking about, right?
Yeah.
So therefore, when he says that I am there, when he says that I am there everywhere, but you are not there, that means what we discussed is about like the waves, right? We have waves and the ocean deep, right? That the unmanifested form is analogous to the depth of the ocean. Okay, and whatever is happening, so it's actually separating uh, the Maya from the source, or from the unmanifested form. I think that is a message I got from these two. So though they look
You're
very contradictory, what I understood is that um, we have to consider that whatever we are doing is a Maya on the conscious, on the which is there as part of the entire unmanifested this thing, right? So the essence is that we should know that everything happens due to him, or due to that unmanifested form only. And we should also know that it is there within us also. I mean, that's what I understood, sir, from there.
Anybody else wants to add anything?
So first is that wave and ocean example.
Let's talk about the first verse. Fourth verse, what does he talk about? Wave and ocean comes later. Fourth verse, what is he saying? Everybody
So
exists in me,
yeah.
but I do not
Mm,
dwell in them. Why is he saying I do not dwell in them? So all
mm,
people exist in me, that's at an unmanifested form. I think Shalini covered that fairly well. But he says,
mm.
I do not dwell in them. What is he meaning there?
So when he says, I do not dwell in them, he is not directly responsible for the actions from us, right? Because there are influences due to our karma which we have brought, etc. So to that extent, um, we talked about it, sir. What there is a free will element, tatastu. Whatever we want to do, he will bless us. It is not that he is only doing everything. I mean, whatever is happening is not fully because of, not fully by him, but actually he dwells in every one of us.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, both of you are in the right direction. Yeah. So everybody exists in me. That part is clear. Why the fourth was I do not dwell in them. What he's saying, as you said rightly, Jayasudha, is that all of us, go through our own agitations, our own anxieties, whatever you may call it at a daily level. He says, I do not dwell in that attribute of yours, which is what Shalini was referring to as Maya or lack of understanding, ignorance, however you talk about that. So I'm not part of the Maya, I'm at a very higher level. And then the fifth verse, where he says, first he said, I exist in me, that was at a unmanifested level. When he says, I do not exist, nor do beings exist in me, that one is about, she said, right, at the surface level of the ocean, um, all waves exist in the ocean, right? And waves at the time are, up and down, like you and I, we go through ups and downs in life, etc. So that's part of that. But deep inside, where there's so much of quietude, which is where, one is in a meditative state, etc., etc., people don't exist in me because they are still at a surface level with all their ups and downs, etc., caught up in the the worldly things. So that is the essence of these two things, right? And so when we look at therefore the 10th chapter, what is he saying? 10th chapter is all about I exist in everything. Right. So he takes example of I exist in many. He doesn't say everything because he said I can't list everything. So he's taking examples of different things across the manifested world, and he says I exist in all of them, right? Which is what we chanted just now.
Yeah.
So I just thought we link the learning from 9th and 10th stand, the verse in that one. Now let's talk a little bit about. So we've learned a few things from 9th, 8th, 7th, etc. And then the 10th was all vibhuti. Vibhuti is what? Is all his expressions in the outer world for us to connect to. Because our inability to connect with him in the unmanifested form is difficult. Since Arjuna asked him, tell me everything, spill it out. What are all the things you manifest yourself into different things so that I can connect with them? But in the earlier chapters also, he has given some of these vibhutis. So the question to all of you, if you remember, is can you recollect some of them? That was, it was all sampling. It was not an exhaustive set like the one he's doing here in this 10th chapter, but there were some references to it in the earlier chapters. In fact, starting from the 7th one in different ways.
7th, sir. 7th one. Balam balavatam chaham kamara vivarjitam.
Very right.
That is 11th one. Then
if you go to the seventh one, as you rightly said, go back a bit earlier, Shalini, on that same chapter, 7th verse, right? I am that string that connects the whole necklace of pearl, right? I am the one that connects everybody. There also he's talking about at an unmanifested form, right? Not a manifested form. So the way to look at these expressions is somewhere there are examples of, because one has its subtle thing, right? Thread is just a symbolization of the, eternal connect that he's referring to. So on the other hand, some of the things that are there in chapter 1 are more at a gross level, right? So one is subtle. So the 7th verse, 7:7 is more of a subtle expression of his thing. And as you said, the where he talks about, that I am the Aham Bharvata Basmi, right? That part is there. What are the pieces? Good one, Shalini. What are some of the other ones?
Rasoham apsu kaunteya prabhasmi shashi
Very right. Yeah, that's a very good one. Rasoham. So that comes in Rasoham apsu kaunteya. That's one we chanted.
Yeah.
It's
8, 7, 8.
Yeah, 7, 8, right? That's why the taste and water, the light of the moon, the sun, the syllable Om, right? All of that. So you can see that from the 7th chapter itself, right, he's been giving us a taste of these things about his vibhutis. That's reason if we have to therefore sometimes, when we connect it, we all see that there is a, we've given sampling of it earlier. The 10th chapter is a large set of things that we can all relate to. Okay, that was 7th one. Any others that you can all think about in 8th or 9th or
8th, 9th.
There are quite a few 9th actually. 8th also there is something. Yeah, so if you see there is a
the Purusha 7, 8, 22.
Adibhudam Ksharabhavo.
Yeah, Adibhutam, Aditya Varnam Tamasa Parastat, right? There is a verse that comes up in the 8th chapter. Kavim Puranam, right? If you see that verse, it's Kavim Puranam, there is a verse that starts, I don't recall exactly what the name of which verse number it is, But if you see that verse in 8th
Ninth,
chapter,
sir. Ninth verse. Kavim Purana
okay,
Manushya.
yeah, you see that verse, right? Kavim Puranam. So, and the nourisher, effulgent like the sun, right? And beyond all ignorance. Again, it's somewhere between subtle and gross that he's doing there. And then we'll probably jump to ninth chapter. The ninth chapter, there are quite a few instances where you'll see.
16, 17. 17.
Yes, you got it.
Pita.
Yeah, if you see that 16th and 17th verse especially, 16th verse talks about, right, I am the kratu, I am the sacrifice. So I want to go back to this. You should remember, all of us, because it's there in the Balviha class also. There is one verse in the 4th chapter. What is it? Fourth chapter. Nothing other than Brahmarpanam, right?
Brahmarpana Prabhavi.
Brahmarpana. Yeah.
Yeah, I am the ladle, I am the ghee, I am the offerer.
Yeah.
That is also his vibhuti, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, now going to the 16th verse and 17th verse, right? And the oblation, similar, very similar to that 424, 24th verse of 24, is there in the 16th verse of 9th chapter. I am the clarified butter, I am the mantra, I am the oblation. You understand? Very similar context. And then the 17th verse, right? I am the father of the world, I am the grandfather, I am the mother. Syllable Om.
Yes.
I am the Sama Yajurveda. In the 10th chapter, he says, I am the Sama Vedas of all the Vedas. Here he says, I am the Sama and the Yajuhu, right? In the 17th verse here.
He also says Pranava mantra, right? That is nothing but Om. In 10.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. Yes. So you see, right, the reason I thought we'll just touch upon these things is to sort of see the linkage in all of these, right, that there is a lot of sprinkling. Even if we were to relate to a few of these, it'll be good. So the question to ask, therefore, is, right, what do you think by chanting or knowing some of these in the 9th chapter, right, what is it that it does to a seeker like us? Why is this chapter, why one is to know at a level of, is there everywhere, etc., right? What does it do to us?
Make us humble, sir. Actually, we are nothing.
Okay, that is one way to look at it. What else? What does it do to you inside, right? What does it, yeah,
I
humble?
think what I felt, sir, is that we ourselves have that, since he resides in us, right? That means we if we are able to search through, we will be able to get. Is what I'm thinking. Okay, when I'm reading this, I was thinking he's saying for everything, I am here, I am this, I am this. So he's also there in us, right? When you know that you should, one thing as Jasuda said is, we are not the creator. You will forget the doership. Second thing is, you will be able to have courage to face anything, is what I'm thinking.
Actually,
Yeah.
it is not something which is unreachable or unimaginable. We'll be able to feel much closer and better.
Yeah, all very good, relevant answers. See, you can see from the standpoint that, yeah, it looks like a totally unapproachable thing. But when I look at it from some of these unmanifested forms, the more I can connect with them, it appears that I can, it is not really far away. The other way to look at it, right? Let's just ask yourself, right? When you meet somebody, let's say wise person, and you know that person's glories, you know that person's good acts, wisdom, a lot of things that he or she has done. What happens to you? Take anybody, normal human being, right? Let's say a Swamiji has come.
With this knowledge, what you will see, if we didn't have this knowledge, we would have felt very intimidated, I feel. But with this knowledge, you know that everybody is having the same Chetana. It is just that each of us are going through our own journey. Like that's what and that will make us more, I feel, to get connected rather than feeling intimidated.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
One of the things I,
Yeah.
and
See,
all of
one way
us
to
are in
look
the
at it, right?
same. If it is there in me, it is there in someone else also. It's just that the covering that is there is different for different people, and so I think you will become much more patient. You will get and you will respond rather than react, or I mean all the other, all the transactions. No, it will become a little more smoother is what I am thinking, sir.
No, I think all the see each one of us, we can look at it from multiple angles. One angle you can also look at it as that, right? So when I know somebody a lot more,
Mm.
let's say it could be your own somebody within your own family. What happens? Your love for that person,
Yeah, true.
the devotion towards that person starts increasing, isn't it?
Yeah.
He's in so many things, right? There is, he's right here next to me. He's saying, isn't this, isn't that? My intelligence, the fact that I have this intelligence is because of him.
Mm.
Suddenly, if I'd not known that, maybe the love or devotional aspect would have, not been as intense. But once I know that, he's dwelling in every aspect of what I call I'm shining, right? That
Mm.
shine is all because of him. So the devotional aspect, the reason I think, and one of the reasons it is said that this chapter comes here is the 12th chapter is all about Bhakti Yoga.
Mm.
So, what is bhakti, what is devotion, etc., right? We all know to that extent, but how does it manifest? It just you just don't say I love you, right? I mean, that's a very superficial thing. I start loving, I start showing the devotion once I'm able to connect more, once I know the glories of that person more, in this case, Ishvara, and that, grows more and more, right? And so this is where, if you see the linkage between, we said the ninth chapter, the 10th chapter was all about I exist in many things. I am in all is what 10th chapter is all about. What is 11th chapter going to be? All in me,
Mm.
all in me. When he does the Vishwarupa Darshana, it's all in me. Everything, he'll just say in a very graphical way. He'll just walk through the stanzas in terms of everything is in me. So, so he's touched upon I am in everything is in me. With that understanding, with that devotion, then he'll go into the 12th chapter, which is Bhakti Yoga. So you see the sort of gradual connect, right? And the way beautifully this is done in the Bhagavad Gita chapters, one after the other, why it is like that. Hmm. So, so vibhuti. So therefore, leads to bhakti, leads to devotion, um, and also at a meditative state or contemplative state, somewhere we'll say, I next time you chant, let's say, you listen to Rudram chanting, he says, I'm in Rudram, I'm Shiva, right? Or you listen to Samaveda chanting, somewhere he says, I am the Sama of all the Vedas, and in the Samas itself, particular type of chanting of Sama also is one of them. So you see all of them, you can see the linkage there, right? Okay, so that I thought first thing we'll talk about. Um, Second thing I was thinking at a basic level now. So we're going down to basics. Hmm. Basics as I'm saying from a learning perspective here. So we've been talking about attachment, what you call having some control uh, over our mind, our senses. What are those two words? Control of the mind, control of the senses.
Words. Mm.
Sama and Dama, no.
Hmm.
Ah,
Right.
okay.
No, it's okay. If you don't remember, it's okay. But it's good to have these in the mind because these are very popular words and it's sort of, there pretty much everywhere. So, so if you take the control of the senses, which is referred to as Dhamma, and the one way to where you can see the symbol of that is if you've seen Gandhiji's three monkey thing. Have you seen it?
Yeah.
There is ears that are shut, mouth that is shut, eyes that are shut. Right. That just says that's how to control the senses. Somewhere you should say I should be able to have the capability of shutting my mouth if I don't have to, or keep it restrained. Similarly, my ears, similarly my eyes, etc. That is now what is so that is a literal sense, right? That I don't take my hand to the next thing that is of that I'm desirous of holding or keeping or eating or something. But then what about at the mind level? That is the shama part, right? Shama part is what? So tell me which one is easier or which one is difficult? Which one do you think is easier? Which one is difficult from your own perspective?
Controlling senses, Dhamma is easy, sir. Controlling mind is only is difficult.
Okay. What do you think, Kubeshwaran? சொல்லுங்க. நீங்க தான் சொல்ல இது வரைக்கும்.
Yes, mind cannot be controlled, sir. It's not
Mind
very
cannot be
difficult.
controlled.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Controlling factors, we can give some alternatives, this, that. We can cheat it. So, but mind is not accepting.
But I am thinking, to control senses, you need to control mind. I don't know. This is what I was thinking.
Correct.
To
Correct.
control
So-
your
First, if
senses,
you are
you
able to
need to
control the
control your
mind,
mind.
automatically
So
senses will get
so what
controlled.
she's saying is right? So supposing I have Sama control, does it automatically control the Dhamma part also? If my mind, see,
Yes.
ultimately what makes
Yes.
you to take your finger or open your eyes or listen to something, the mind is saying, hear this, see this, touch this,
Correct.
right?
Yes.
If the mind is
Yes.
shut, right, or mind is shut, meaning it says nothing doing, man, I'm not going to do this thing, automatically sense organs will not go.
Correct.
So the sense organs for it to go will be only for those people where the mind part of it is still weak, not yet there. It is like tying the hands of somebody, like they try to do with Krishna, no, where there is a small boy, is doing a lot of pranks, they just side him. Like that, I'm saying. So, and that is what that monkey example of Gandhiji's thing shows, right? It's literally closing the thing. But it doesn't work, as you said, right? Because
I'm totally thinking in the reverse direction. If you remember even Tirukural, where he says, செவிக்கு உணவு இல்லாத போது சிறிது வயிற்றுக்கும் ஈயப்படும்னு சொல்ற மாதிரி, like when you're not doing anything, your mind only dominates you. When I'm doing something and then engaging my sense organs, the mind is actually aligned to it, this, that, or something. Then the moment I'm not doing anything and then control everything, the mind tries to take control of me. Something like that. I feel okay, but
no, you're right. You're right that whenever you're not doing idle mind, it's a devil's workshop, as it said, right? It goes all over the place unless you have a way to, have some say over the mind, right? But the question is when there is an action involved, right? There is things in front of you, right? Where let's talk in an active state, right? Which are the factors that dominate? That's what we're talking. What you're saying is also right. That in a state where you're doing nothing, then I say physically doing nothing, then mind is in a turmoil if you don't take control of it one. So of course there is no question of senses coming into the picture, right? It's only the mind that is taken control of us, right? We are slave to the mind at that particular time. But in the case when we are doing an action, mind is also at play, senses are also at play, isn't it? So that's what we're talking about. So if Sama works, Dhamma, is not required, at least when you're
Yes.
acting. On the other hand, if the mind is weak, right, that is where, somewhere you have to say, shut your hands. That's the reason people, what do you call, put something on their ears. They don't want to hear something. You will see, you'll see people like, especially Jains and other things, right? They forcibly close certain outlets from the body so that, they don't do anything with that. Um, the hands are always, in a japamala kind of a thing, right? So things like that. So there are different religions that follow different things towards that. It's just for us to understand. But ask yourself, right? Is it the same, Shalini, when you're saying all of you, and when you're saying Maya, sorry, the Sama is still very tough even today. Is it the same as it was 5 years back? Are you still under the, mind, taking you haywire in all cases, or is it somewhat reduced?
It is reduced, sir, for sure.
Reduced, right? So I think
Even if
you're
it
all progressing.
is aware, we
Compared
are
to 5
aware.
years back, definitely it is reduced. So,
See, because right, that in God, I mean, our growth itself makes sure. When you start getting beyond a certain age or whatever, doctor says, you should not do this, you should not do this, you should not eat this. And given all this multimedia things happening now, you say, do detoxification of, all the multimedia related things, etc., right? So we get enough dose from the outer world, to say, through doctors, through well-wishers, etc., that we should you know, restrain certain things. So automatically it happens. Right? The same thing that you would have, taken chocolate so much of earlier, you don't take them now, right? Or sweets, whatever, things like that. So indulgences definitely are not the same as what it was earlier. Yeah, you were saying something, Kubeshwaran. You're saying, wanted to say something. Okay. All right.
No, I was
Okay.
telling
So,
that mind is changing definitely, and then even if something happens, like able to think that what am I doing?
okay. So
Stands,
now,
but still that what am I doing?
so another thing we touch upon is there in the earlier chapter, ninth chapter, eighth chapter, etc., is there is a reference to, the divine being both the material cause and the efficient cause. So what is our understanding of these two?
material cause and
Material cause
Material
and
cause and efficient cause. It's there in 2, 3 verses that's come in a couple of chapters already. What do we understand? Not able to recollect?
some clues, sir.
Okay, simple. Material cause, let's just take a potter making a pot, right? The clay is the material cause based on which the pot is being made. The
Yes.
skill, the talent, to
Mm.
make that happen is the efficient cause.
Mm.
So in the world, whatever we see
17.
manifested,
Okay.
in the world, whatever we see manifested, like the things we saw in chapter 10, there is a material cause for everything. There is also an efficient cause behind it. So Bhagavad Gita says, both are me. So clay is also from me. Like,
The
the
skill.
gold, the raw gold is from me. The person, the goldsmith who makes the gold ornaments is also me.
Mm.
So what is one example we took about this particular verse that talked about this, where both of these are in the same thing? So the example we took, potter and clay, is two different people, right? Clay is one thing, potter is a different one. But there is one example where he took where both are in the same thing. What is it?
I am the goal.
Okay, if you don't remember, this is the spider web.
Spider, yeah, okay.
The spider makes the web out of its own saliva.
Yeah.
You recall this one?
Yes, sir, yes, we recover this. Yes, recall this. Yes.
So that is the one where both the material cause and the efficient cause are in the same entity. So, this comes in Mandukya Upanishad. If you remember, we talked about that, which is where this is taken that, that spider is just a symbol of what Ishvara is all about. That he makes it all
I think
happen.
this is the ninth, 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th verses.
Yeah. All right. Let's go to a couple
Every
of more
action has
basics.
two causes, material and efficient or kill. I am both. What he says.
Okay. Okay, now let's dwell on this thing, right? Remember liberation. The word liberation means mukti,
Moksha.
moksha, right? Now there were two references that we have made in whenever we chanted, especially 8th and 9th chapter. One is called Krama Mukti and one is called Jivan Mukti. Do you recall any of them?
Jivan Mukti we recall, sir.
What is it?
Prayana Kale, something we said, right?
I think you're right. Just to let me we look at the verses a little bit. What is each one of them, right? Just understand. Both of them are realization. So one is a realization that happens, which is what was talked about in the 9th chapter, wherein it says, at the time of death, if you keep thinking about me, Lord Narayana,
Okay.
remember, you will reach there. You will remember this one?
Yes,
And
sir.
we
Yes.
said that for somebody to be thinking about Narayana at the time of death doesn't happen automatically. That person should have been doing this sadhana practices, upasana practices for a long time, for that person to be been thinking about Narayana at the time of death, right? So that is referred to as Krama Mukti. Krama Mukti means something that happens gradually, maybe over several lifetimes, right? But in a particular lifetime, he's done so much of good work that he attains, a higher loka. Remember we talked about multiple lokas there.
Yes.
But it happens after the death or after the physical body, the soul comes out of the physical body. Then that soul, depending on the work that was done in that particular birth till there, goes to certain lokas. And ultimately, as you go progress and further, that person reaches the Brahma Loka and, goes to the
That is
final
Jivan.
liberation. That comes under Krama Mukti. Jivan Mukti is in the presence of the physical body itself, the person is realized. The person is fully established in Karma Yoga. The person is fully not affected by all the, day-to-day things that an average person has done. And yet he or she is totally, interacting with people as though he is a normal human being, he or she. So when I use the word he, please take it as he or she here. So that person, but he's totally unperturbed by anything, not attached, not bound. So he's not incurring any karmas, right? So if you see a Jivan Mukti, if you see it from a karma perspective, right? What are the three karmas we know of? The Sanchita karma, Agami karma, and Prarabdha karma, right? So Sanchita karma is all your early, deposits of all your previous janmas all put together. That if you do the sadhana and with the guru's grace, gets exhausted, nullified totally in one's birth, right? Agami karma is the things that, that you do now, today, which may have its own after effects. But that person, being in knowledge, doesn't incur any of them. Then the only thing that remains is prarabdha karma. The prarabdha karma is not something that can be erased. It has to be played out. And you look at all the examples of people, that of sages. Ramana Maharishi, realized soul. And yet when he went through in his later years, growth, cancerous growth, etc., in his legs, etc., right? part of his prarabdha karma. But he didn't take it in any, for him, he just said, this is part of it. And, insects are doing its work. I'm totally not carried away by anything that's happening in my body. Right? Ramakrishna, Paramahansa, you take many people, right? They went through their own, prarabdha karma. They had to be, so that is something everybody has to go through, you and I also. But even the people who are examples of Jivan Mukti that we can all relate to, they also went through this. But they were not at all perturbed by it also. Right? And for the Kramamukti person, also that it's not that Sanchita Karma, somebody who's got a guru in their life and they're following the sadhana practices, upasanas, etc. Even there, the Sanchita Karma can go away. And if the person is fully in the knowledge, and make sure that in this day-to-day actions, he's aware what should be done, what should not be done, etc., etc. Even the agami karma can be brought to a certain. And prarabdha karma, everybody has to undergo.
So what
It
is
is
the
just
cause?
that realization, total realization, has not happened in the presence of the physical body. It probably happens after the soul leaves the body. Yeah, what were you saying?
Sorry, sir. Sorry to interrupt. So Sanchita Karma trigger is our all our old actions. Agami Karma is the current actions. Prarabdha Karma, I mean, I'm going to the basic. I think what is the trigger for that? Is it just
prarabdha karma. It is a prarabdha karma is a set of karmas that you're born with in this particular life.
Okay.
And you have to compulsorily exhaust it.
Okay.
Right. Supposing, I did something and for that I have to incur some punishment or whatever it might be, right? A bad health phase or monetary losses or relationship loss or something, whatever it might be. We don't know what is in store, right? Each one thing is different. But that experience has to be done.
So then Sanchita Karma means the old experiences only, no, sir?
No. See, it's like this, right? Shalini, one way to look at, let's say I've taken a bank loan, right, for 20 lakhs, right? And there is a lot of, interest, loan interest that's accumulated. Okay. But you're saying, in the next 20 years, I will be able to pay off only 10% of that accumulated loan. And I will guarantee that happens. That is your prarabdha karma. But still the 90% residue still sitting there of all your karmas, of all your impressions, etc. That is your sanchita karma.
Okay. Okay.
That is also
so there is some commitment that is you're born with. So there is a you when you're born, there is a this thing that okay you'll have to complete these karmas. That is what
It is
is
said that
done.
it is said that you don't die until you complete those prarabdha karma.
Okay.
And the moment those prarabdha karma is done, you leave this body.
Okay.
Now somebody else decides when that is done. So you and I can't decide. But
Right.
what I'm saying is that that's what the scripture says, that we are all born with this karma. The day that karma is done, you're out of here.
Okay.
Because there's no need, there's no other purpose. You're done with it.
Yeah.
So here, I think the reason to understand this is that, right, it's not to say where we are in each of these, right? It is to talk about in both of these things, what is important are the practices, the sadhana practices, etc. Right? And which way we go, which direction it takes in terms of, liberation or whatever, right? The ultimate goal, that Ishvara takes care of it, the Guru takes care of it. I think both of these have that one common thing, which is all those sadhanas that we've, been described in the previous chapters.
Yeah. Sir, I want to just share one thing that I heard.
So the thing to remember is that the prarabdha karma is also experienced by the enlightened people.
Okay.
Keep in mind. Yeah, what were you saying?
I wanted to share because I was seeing one of those things. So one person got into an accident. Okay. I mean, when he got into an accident, it's kind of a realization that when he got into accident, he was so very, he was so anxious, and he was so, I mean, natural, right? That is. So this person took that as a turning point. I was reading this I was listening to this podcast. So that's where so he took this as a turning point because he felt that towards the end, what he had to do was to remember the Lord, right? Remember God. And he felt that he was not able to do that because something else, like, anxiety took over him or whatever it is. So then he decided that he wants to do continuous practice of, so that he will be able to remember God even at his last stage. And therefore he completely went into the spiritual path, okay, being a brahmachari and all this stuff. So this is one of the things that I heard in one of the podcasts. I don't know how this thing it is, but I was just thinking, I will share with you, because maybe, he felt that the practice that it gives the practice that needs to happen in a spiritual journey can happen only through brahmacharya or whatever it is. He adopted that. I guess this is one of the person from the ISKCON group, I think, because I was
A
interested
lot of
in,
examples are there.
yeah, so many such examples.
Very good example. Take Valmiki himself, right? He was a
Ah,
hardcore criminal, isn't it? And he was a grihastha. He had a
yeah.
father, he had a mother, he had children, wife, etc., right? But then once Naradaji came there and he made him aware of his pitfalls, etc., right? Then he went and he was just basically, as you said, right? Went and chanted Ram, 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 Ram for the thing. And then he transformed himself, right? So those examples, so it's possible for everybody. It is just that it takes a lot of, you know, maybe rare are those kind of instances where somebody totally transforms from a hardcore criminal to that, but it's there.
Yeah.
We've known that even I've seen in Art of Living, there are some people, prisoners, who have actually hardcore prisoners who are now actually teachers, who are actually avid volunteers, right? These people were actually people with a gun. They came out of prison. They said, they have to change themselves. Came to the group. Learned the practices, practicing it now, and are also, what you call avid followers. So,
I
okay, we'll
just have
take
a
just one
different
last
view
thing.
on this. That if you actually, and I understand this as different marga or spiritual books of this thing. Meaning, though it's a very very brief understanding. Uh, One is always if you take Shankaracharya and they have a very rigid rule on Shankaracharyas and the Shankaracharya Mutt, and they have a Adi Shankaras, they have a very rigid rule on you must be this, and then you must be in your 5 6 years itself that you become Shankaracharya, that you don't get into the other life this thing of this thing. So that, and then only you can be, and then they start from that age, and then their path is very different. But if you take the Adinams, my close friend of mine is there. He's my schoolmate, and Adinam in the sense, you might have heard that Shaiva, this thing that people
Yeah.
in Tamil Nadu is popular. So they are the followers of Manika Vasagar, and then they never had this thing that you need, if you need to be spiritual, they never said that you should not be without family. And he has taken Diksha, means like every day they will do Shiva Puja for his wife is also very spiritual, and they do daily 1.5 hours Shiva Puja, and then only he will do anything else. And then he continues his this life, and also he is now director in Qualcomm. So that everything they won't leave, and then that their principle is, say, I understand Gita is also like he has never told Arjuna to actually leave, right? So I also see that, like, uh, I understand from that is that the brahmacharyam is not the only way, but but that may be in the next form of that. But when over a period of time, when I started saying that, so the moment then people say only when I become a brahmachari, then only I can seek the spiritual path. So we get into that trap. So we see that no, even when you are doing all this, how you can still be spiritual, and that's what I understand from that. But I know, but I picked
You're
the
right.
end, but
You're
the
right.
adhinams are very common in that perspective. Yeah.
You're right. Different adhinams, different mutts have different rules. I mean, we don't need to get, but both schools of thoughts are there, right? So, for example, I remember in Chinmaya Mission, or for example, Art of Living, if you want to become, become a brahmacharya. When I say brahmacharya, not in a, even as a married person to become a brahmacharya after marriage, they ask you a few questions. What are your responsibilities? That if there is no bond, there's no binding thing there that you have, then and only then you can come and even be initiated to take the brahmacharya course and Vedantic course, etc. Even in Chinmaya Mission, I remember when we said, we want to take these things, you said, you have to actually get a consent. You have to get a consent from the mother, or you have to get a consent from the people that, in fact, you can, take up this one, because you're leaving away certain things which was your responsibility till yesterday. Right. If you're a brahmachari and you're not married, it's a different thing. But you have a kid, you have a wife, etc. Right, and maybe may have not, you may have a early, ailing mother. You can't drop that and say I'll become a sannyasi. So they clearly put these clauses there, and only if that clauses are met, one can even enter an ashram and start even initiate for training. And even in the training, only if after that person, the guru feels that person is ready to wear a sannyasa robe or a brahmachari robe, is given. It is not that you go in there, it automatically happens. Fairly stringent. Now, in the case of Kanchi Math and others, they do it very early age. The question doesn't come right at the age of, as you said, 5 and 6. So obviously, the person is so innocent at that age that he can easily be, transformed. So,
Correct me if I'm wrong. Even GRs, Vaishnava GRs, you can be there only after having after having grandchildren. So they have very very different.
I
This
know, I
thing.
know, I know. Yeah, yeah.
You
But
can
in
they
all of that, I think,
different perspective to your sannyasam.
correct, correct, correct. So I think we'll close it today. We are probably gone a bit beyond time. So was this useful the way we discussed things, or was it
Yes, sir.
revision? How
It's
was it?
Very good.
very useful, sir. Actually,
Very, very good.
we can follow this pattern probably. Uh, uh, because when you assign shlokas, no, sir, I mean, honestly speaking, I'll go through only that, sir. I'll not go through the remaining anyway. Others are there to cover facts, right? So this gives an overall perspective, and also we are able to catch the key points rather than actually going over everything. So.
Mhm. Okay, you have a couple of other things I had in mind. Maybe we'll bring it up
Once
in
in
the
three
next.
classes and connect all the dots, sir. Once in
Mm.
once after
No,
three
I think
classes,
it's
we
good to do
start
it. Yeah, it's good. We'll do it at the end of a chapter. We'll see what makes sense, right? Each chapter is different. I thought in this particular chapter, especially since we are, vibhutis, going through the vibhutis, I thought itself is good to know, but is that going to convey what we want to, pick up from that, right? Is what I was saying. That's the reason we went through this thing. But yeah, we will, some kind of a, I was even thinking along the lines of a quiz you know, something like that we can go through, etc. But anyway, we can keep it oral and talk it through. That's also fine. Okay, all right, so we'll close now. ॐ सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्युर्मा अमृतं गमय ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ हरि ओम्
Hari Om, sir. Thank you.